Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome to Sup Talk Radio. My first guest needs no introduction whatsoever. He is a three-time winner, Brand of the Year, and is always my wingman, my pilot. Robert, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks, Sean. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, guys.
And my other guest is actually blessing us. He's coming out from the FDA-proof bunker to spend an hour with us. Probably the number one reviewer out there on YouTube. And I'm glad to have him on the show and glad to have him as a friend. Allow me to introduce TJ from Fitness Deal News.
Hey, Sean. Thank you. Yeah, out of the FDA-proof bunker, yeah, in the office.
Guys, so before we go into supplements and everything else, I want to just enter this podcast hot here. And I want to talk a little bit about the whole swimmers, I'm going to say scandal, but the whole female swimmer thing that's going on. I know, Robert, you and I both have daughters. So we may be a little bit close to this. But I know, TJ, you posted something. I mean, do one of you guys want to start with your feelings and we'll kind of talk it out a little bit?
Well, TJ was the one who posted first, so lead the way.
Yeah, sure. Listen, the first, it's interesting because I think the first thing that hit me when I looked at it is that women have been fighting for equality in sports for 100 years, only to start seeing sports dominated by men, to see women's sports dominated by men. And I'm not saying that Leah is not a woman. She is now a woman, but she was a man. And you know, when you cut your dick off, it doesn't cut off all the muscles and the bone structure and everything you built over 20 years. And I am so I wouldn't have here's how flexible I am with this thing. I would have zero problem if my son decided to be a transgender and turn into a woman. I would literally have zero problem as long as he's happy. But seriously, it's just unfair. I think it's mostly unfair to women. This is my biggest problem. It's mostly unfair to women athletes. If I'm a woman athlete, I worked all my life and I've trained, and suddenly someone comes in that has clearly an unfair advantage, then I just think it's stupid. By the way, they should have and I don't think there's enough science to prove anything. I just know that men are stronger than women. They're bigger than women. They're bigger than women. Forget stronger. Forget level of testosterone. They're just bigger and stronger. And so I just don't understand. They should have transgender leagues, I guess, and where people can compete evenly. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And again, zero problem with the concept or the notion or the freedom piece of it. Zero, literally less than zero. But I think it's just unfair to women.
Yeah, I think TJ, I mean, pretty much nailed it. Everybody has a choice, and whether you want to be a man or a woman. Listen, at the end of the day, I can call myself a dog. I mean, that's fine. That's my right to say whatever the fuck I want to say. Whether you perceive me as one and whether I am one, that's a whole other issue. That's a whole other thing. If somebody wants to be, if a man wants to be a woman wants to be a man. By all means, you know what? I mean, the technology is there, whatever you feel, whatever you believe you are. I mean, that's fine. However, you cannot make me accept you. You cannot make me accept you, being a certain way just because you identify yourself as such. Because you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, as a heterosexual man, I'm attracted to women. And just because you claim to be a woman, but you were or are a man, I will not see you that way. I'm sorry. You know what? I have to be honest about it. And what TJ said, about swimming. I mean, we use swimming as an example, but what about if a man decides to be a woman and now enters boxing? Or MMA or something like that. There's a clear.
Actually, happened in the MMA.
It happened. There was.
And now weightlifting also.
Yeah, it's a clear advantage. It's a very dangerous advantage. It's we're walking a fine line. And when people are saying, a bunch of people sent me messages regarding what TJ posted, and I posted as well. And they asked, specifically about this podcast, like, how far are we going to go? Listen, I think people, you don't understand. We're not trying to be controversial. I mean, I'm probably like acting a bit like as an attorney right now for both myself and TJ. We didn't choose to be, attacking you or anything like that. We're just calling you out because a lot of people are yes men, and they scared to tell the truth. And just because we do, there is a certain perception. And I was already told by one person, you cannot say anything out loud about your opinion about female becoming male or male becoming female. Last time I checked, we live in a free country, and I can express myself the way I want. The bottom line is that person, whether he perceives or she perceives herself as a man or a woman, was ranked 462nd, I believe, as a male swimmer.
Yeah, something like that.
Right now, ranked number one. I mean, you don't go from 462 to number one overnight. There are skills, there is a genetic pool, there is a testosterone level, and they all play a huge, huge part in this. And as a 6'2" female, you're gonna enter something like a cage, or you're gonna enter something like a boxing ring against somebody who weighs the same as you, but is a lot shorter, a lot weaker. I mean, we're talking, this is dangerous. Somebody can get badly hurt. And like TJ said, you train your entire life for something, and all of a sudden that is taken away from you because somebody decided to be a female or identifies himself as a female. And basically, it's just disrespectful to women that have been training so hard and they elite at what they do. And all of a sudden, somebody who is Olympic champion is losing to Leah. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so I was just doing a little research before we came on, and one of these swimming governing bodies just put into effect this week that if you're in the transgender, you need to be on estrogen for at least 3 years plus to compete. Leah did not meet that criteria, but because it's the middle of the season, they're not going to implement it and can allow her to continue to swim. And again,
Yeah.
for those of you that
But
know
I
me,
think
some of you
even there,
don't.
Sean, but even
I'm
there,
sorry?
Sean, even there, because I've done after this thing, I actually read a bit. Even there's not conclusive science around whether if you take 3 years of testosterone or estrogen, sorry, or 50 years, if you actually, how much of your abilities as a man, as a previous man, do you actually lose, and is it an equal playing field? I think it's a very complex topic, right? It is a complex topic in the sense of you could argue, say, hey, listen, she's now a woman. I'll give you the counter argument, by the way. Here's the counter argument, even though I don't subscribe to it, but here's a counter argument if I had to represent someone. And I would say, hey, listen, there's races who are genetically more blessed by definition, right? So how about we just decide that if there's a race that's genetically more blessed, they shouldn't compete with races that are genetically less blessed because they have a competitive advantage because their structure, their bone structure, their sizes, their muscle structure. Where do you put the line? If society decided that Leah is now a woman, then yes, she's genetically blessed. I don't think that that's controversial. She is, by definition, genetically blessed compared to other women because she was a man, right? But there's also men that are genetically blessed compared to other men, by definition. So what are we doing now? Are we now just deciding that it's based on your gene pool? And if your gene pool is more genetically blessed, you shouldn't compete with people who are not as... I think that's where the line is. That if I had to do a counter argument, I would say, hey, how about that? Hey, by the way, Robic and I are Jewish. Jews don't jump very high. So we shouldn't have people who jump very high next to us. How's that? Right? So that would be the counter argument.
I don't think there really is a right or wrong. I mean, obviously, this is going to be a precedent, but it'll be interesting to see how much further precedents like these become prevalent over the next years during our generation.
Well, you know what? I mean, if you take, because a lot of us kind of like, following or sort of involved with bodybuilding, you have a women's bodybuilding division and you have a male's bodybuilding division. The biggest, baddest, the most ripped female bodybuilder on the planet, who is a Miss Olympia, if you throw her to compete against men, I mean, her placing a top 10, it's going to be very, very, very unlikely. As a female, she's superior to other females based on, of course, genetics and drugs and whatnot. It's just like the argument can always be presented. TJ is right on this one, of course. But the thing is that at one point or another, we have to draw a line because I just feel like, somewhere the line has to be drawn. And it's the same thing as like in some states in United States, you can shoot somebody just for entering your property. In other
Oh, yeah.
states, it takes a little bit more than that. Your life has to be in danger. The decision, right and wrong, well, that's unfortunately decided for us. Depends on where you live, and we could be arguing about it like day and night. But there is no winning or losing this one.
Yep. Yep. So no, fair topics. So I think most everybody that's attending this podcast know you both, but how did you guys meet? Was it just reviewer doing products, or is there more backstory to that between you both?
I actually remember the exact moment. I think the company existed for about maybe 2 or 3 years, and we were just selling out of the gym. And I think like maybe 2 or 3 stores reached out to us and they said they want to carry the products. They saw it somewhere. I didn't know anything about reviews. I did not know anything about the industry, like the deeps and all the insides and outs. So I was actually in LA, and I was in LA, I believe, with Carolina. Went to LA for some reason, and she was getting Starbucks, and I was sitting in a car. I was just playing on YouTube, and at that moment, TJ's review just popped, and he was reviewing a NutriBio. I think it was vanilla protein, if I'm not mistaken. I have no idea who this guy is. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, this does not even look real, because I've seen a few reviews by the other channels, and I was always very, very suspicious that something funky is going on, because I mean, you can't go wrong with NutriBio. NutriBio is like the king, of everything they do. It's amazing. All of a sudden, this guy who is fucking about to jump out of my phone is like saying that it's not a good tasting protein. I mean, that he's disappointed. I'm like, the fuck is wrong with him? I agreed with him, and I know a lot of people agreed with him, but nobody said it out loud, and I couldn't get over it. Like, what the fuck is this? And I remember we got back to New Jersey, and I'm like, listen, we have some good products. I mean, we only have like 3 products, but they're pretty good. And Hooligan at that point, I think we already had Assassin, was fucking crucified by pretty much everybody. Like, everybody was like, listen, so this guy's going to crucify it too. Might as well just send it to him, maybe. And I reached out to TJ, I think through Instagram, and he goes, yeah, give me a call. Called, and I found out that he's from Israel also. So I mean, obviously there is a connection as well, and kind of hit it off. But there was no the first thing I already knew. I guess I didn't tell the whole truth. Obviously, I knew that there are money involved in reviews, and that aspect does exist. He never asked me for money. He never said anything about the money. He's just said, send it to me, and that's it. We had a very, very cool conversation about various topics. I sent him. All of a sudden, the review comes out. I'm like, it's a positive review. Like, what the fuck? I mean, it's always took me by surprise. And ever since then, I mean, we became very good friends, and we talk a lot. And never hide the secret that TJ actually advised on many products. He gave marketing advice, and I always give credit where credit due. And I think the company wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for TJ's involvement. And the good thing about it is, like, I always felt like I have to defend our relationship. But the truth is, nobody actually ever attacked me. So I don't even know what I'm trying to defend it. Like, you know what? We're not paying TJ. He's just a friend. Nobody's even asking me that. So I'm like, I got finally to that point. Like, you have to relax, because people within the industry, they know the truth. Even if they're not saying it, they know who is corrupted and who is not corrupted. And I think, like, at this point, I'm so relaxed that, I'll give him a call and I'll say, TJ, you know what? We're going to be coming up with this product. It's not a review. It's a sample. It's a flavor. It's a formula. It's a something. I just want your opinion. And as he says, yeah, send it to me. I'll send it to him. There were times where he would tell me, you know what, you have to back off certain things. Like, he did actually. He's responsible for the fact that Assassin is not as crazy, because he was the one who said, like, listen, just tone it down on Alpha Yo. And we tried different versions, and so at this point, the relationship is, we are friends, and he helps me. Sometimes we disagree on things, but it's always done in a respectful fashion. But like I said, I don't have to make an excuse being friends with somebody just because other friends in the industry are getting compensated for their friendship.
Right. I actually remember that NutraBio review. It's a long time ago. By the way, it's not that I said it wasn't tasty. I totally went crazy there. That
I
one
was trying
was
to be
nasty.
nice.
It was very nasty. It was disgusting.
It was vanilla, right?
I can't remember if it was vanilla or chocolate or something, but I know it tasted like shit. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I think the review. So we met. That's exactly Robert remembers how things folded better than me. But yeah, that sounds right. I think also at the time there wasn't a lot, from a review perspective. PricePlow was doing reviews. And then there wasn't a lot of activity. There's definitely a bit more people around today, and I think there's more appreciation of the impact that like review channels can have. And I think one of the things that Robert just mentioned, which is actually very interesting, I say that to brands and definitely with Robert. If I get, this is one of the advantages with Apollon, for example. A lot of the reviews with Apollon, when I do them, I've already tried the product like 100 times in the sample phases, right? So I'm not surprised when stuff comes out. And
I'm sorry to interrupt. In fact, we did not release. We don't have a date. We don't have anything. But TG already tried Assassin 8, which was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, because and I think that's something that is helps definitely in that regard. But yeah, I think interestingly enough, there's you can create a relationship that is friendship based, and also have a very unbiased approach to things. Definitely, if you have access to the stuff before it comes out, but also I would not say that something hits hard if it doesn't hit hard. It can be good without hitting hard, or it can be good without without causing you a heart attack. So it's been, dude, what has it been now? Now that Sean is asking this thing, when was the first Apollon review? Is it 2 years ago? 3 years ago? What is
No, I would say probably about 4 years ago. I just don't remember whether it was Hooligan or Assassin. But I think it was about 4 years ago, maybe even longer.
Wow.
Yeah. So the company is 7 years old. It really started to make kind of noise about 4 or 5 years ago. So I would say around that.
Crazy. That's
TJ, how long have you been doing reviews? I mean, what made you get into it?
I was I actually it's funny. I was sitting with my kids, and I went back to my first like 10 reviews. Oh my god, so cringe, terrible. I started doing this. I think like I posted the first reviews probably like 16, I think 2016 or something like that. But I wasn't. I went. So we have Fitness Deal News, right, which is the deal site. And really, at the beginning, when I decided to do reviews, was more around helping people. Really, like we do with Fitness Deal News, is all about helping people make smart decisions about where to find the best prices and deals and stuff like that, save money. So the reviews was, hey, if there's something that people are going to buy, whether on a deal or not, better help them understand if it's worth it or not. That was really the approach from the get-go, and that's how it started. So I never thought. I remember even sitting, because I'm in tech, right? Like this whole fitness stuff for me is a cute hobby, but I'm in tech for 30 years now. So I remember even my wife sitting and telling me a few years back, saying, and Robik, you can visualize Sigal saying this, like she said, why are you wasting so much fucking time on this shit? This is taking you so long to do this stuff, like, to edit the videos and posting them and doing all that stuff. Because it was like a small thing. It wasn't that important. So that's how I got into it. And then, it became a thing after a year or so. It was very slow at the beginning, and then it became a thing. And I remember the first review that, I would say was because I did all sorts of, I wasn't like the Steam junkie reviews type thing from the get-go. The first one that got in was Arrows White. When I did the original Arrows White, wow, which is gone by now. That's where Fitness Deal News, the YouTube channel, like moved up another level, because I was also the first, because the channel started really after Craze or Jacked or all this stuff that they were out. So the Erez White, and this is really where this channel started, I'm saying, in a couple of aspects. One, discovery. And this is really, I think, what people appreciate on these review channels is discovery, knowing that something is out. Understand, like even just, that's why Shane at Stacked is so successful. It's discovery, right? You want to know what's out. So the reviews give you that access to know what's out on the, let's say, more edgy stuff. And Erez was really one of them. And that review blew up. And then, yeah, that's it. From there, it's mostly what we're doing right now. So yeah. It's been an interesting journey. And I think for me also, because it's not my main thing, right? That's why I wouldn't give a fuck about saying if something sucks or not. I just don't give a shit. Like, seriously, it's not, I don't know anything. I don't need anyone's favors. So that's why there's zero oral activity on the reviews.
Do you have the most followers out of everybody? Because you're like 30-something thousand, right?
Yeah, by far. I think we have on the channel, if you add up everyone together, it's we have more. So it's not, yeah. But there's a lot of good stuff out there. I mean, Ari from Garage Gym is my favorite channel to watch, honestly. I love watching him. Yeah, there's good stuff out there. There's good people. The review bros are doing a lot of work also. We just, we started early. They were bigger. I don't know if you guys remember, but I'll Pump You Up was the biggest one when I started.
Yeah, Tim Uriello.
It was huge. It was like 100,000 subscribers or something like that. I think they still have 100,000 subscribers. Just no one watches the channel. Price Flow was bigger, right? They, but they went, to a different place, and yeah. But it's been a journey. It's a lot of work. This shit. That's why when I see review channels that post every day, like Ari and stuff. Dude, you know that, Sean. You do that. It's a lot of fucking work.
Eddie and I talk about it for muscle players. I don't know how Ari's not burning himself out trying to do it every day.
No. Yeah.
I have a full-time job like you. I try to get one a week.
Yeah, I do twice a week, and sometimes I miss, and I always like it's just also it's also a mindset. I guess it's also depends on how many things you do in a day. Like I do like 500, so this is one of them.
So our Polish brother here is checking in, and I don't know if he's referring to you or me, TJ.
Oh, I think to me. By the way, I'm the oldest one in the group, so by definition, I get the grandpa. Lukasz is so sweet. Yeah.
So here's a call. I don't buy anything until TJ reviews it. Thank you for what you do, sir.
Thank you, Drew. Appreciate you.
And then I guess, Robert, you might be closer to this too. Have you heard Sparta Nutrition's coming back?
Actually, Shane just mentioned it. Yeah,
I really like the OG Sparta though.
Yeah,
like Sparta.
Yeah, but you know what? In terms of opinion in it, I don't have one. I mean, I guess good luck. I mean, that's all I can say. I just, I think like because my philosophy is slightly different. I believe in evolution. I think you start a brand, and I think you're supposed to, or at least I believe I'm supposed to get better and consistently better, whether it's with products, with releases, and whatnot. They started, I think, off very, very strong. Then, for whatever reason, which I'm not aware of, I guess, maybe TJ knows, they kind of fell off, and now they want to rebrand or restart. And I think they already had like 2 or 3 restarts, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, just all I can say is just good luck. I mean, I don't know anything else.
Yeah, I think that the challenge is, Robert and I talked about this stuff in a couple of other occasions, not this context of Sparta, but you need to have an identity. I think at some point they try to like sort of pivot their identity, and you can find a lot of examples in history, not just in the supplement world, where you try to. It's almost like changing sex, right? It's very hard to change genetics. It's not always successful. So they tried to move from that hardcore identity, really, really on the edge of things, which I think that's where they were super successful and did some good stuff to try to change it to something else. And I don't think that there's not a lot of examples where it works. I mean, I haven't had a lot of interaction with them over the last 5 years. What is it? Since Rain, I think.
Yeah.
Since Rain was out. So. It's good if they're back. Let's see which identity is back.
So I know Nick, and I guess legal troubles possibly with some of the collabs they have that now moved on to other companies. I don't know how collabs work. Like I'm sure there's exclusivity rights and whatnot, but there's got to be an expiration on them, I'm sure.
You know what? We talked about this actually. That's the first time that I'm gonna, I guess, bring it up. But take Ron Kramer for example, right? So before even I talked to him a few times. Obviously, we have a few products with nitrates, and before I even got into it, everybody was saying how scary Ron is, and Ron is suing this one, and Ron is suing that one, and he's mean, and everybody was like fucking shitting their pants every time his name would pop up. Um, I got to talk to him, and I can't say we are friends or anything like that, but I would say that we probably have a very decent relationship and mutual respect and understanding. The bottom line is, if you think about it, who is he suing and why is he suing? Typically, I mean, he probably misfired once or twice, possibly, I don't know. But other than that, it's in most cases he's winning those lawsuits. And I think the reason why he's winning those lawsuits because you're doing something fucking wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, this industry, there are a lot of people who are, I don't know, maybe violating certain agreements or doing something they're not supposed to do. Um, and in terms of Sparta, could get into legal trouble. I mean, it's not just Sparta. There are a lot of, there are a lot of companies that are doing things that are, not exactly 100% kosher, so to speak. So I think, before you release any product, before you do anything, whether it's an ingredient or whether it's a collab or something like that, or you're stealing somebody's idea, just make sure maybe to check with your partners and your associates and, and maybe even your legal team or something like that, because sometimes it can cross the line and sometimes it can go a little bit too far. And, then you end up paying the consequences. So, in terms of Sparta, I think what TJ just mentioned, they sort of lost their identity. And I think that they went a little bit a different route, which to
Yep.
me personally, I never understood with any company that would do that, because you're successful at something. Stay the fuck in your own place, stay in your own lane. Do
Yeah,
whatever
stay the fucking course is a good.
if it works. I remember when we did something like resistance, the immune system product, and some people were like, well, that's not Apollon. No, it is. It's still a fucking fully dosed product. It's still like, not everything we do is hooligan and assassin, but the identity and what we do, we're not trying to go mainstream. We're not trying to cut corners. You already know if it's Apollon or even like Morphogen or like a Pro, you're probably going to get a product that is like fully dosed and does what it's supposed to do. But these companies going from, and we've seen it before, somebody puts up this amazing pre-workout, and one company especially comes to mind. I won't name who they are because it's not actually important. What is important, they had this amazing pre-workout about 7 or 8 years ago, I think before Apollon, so probably 8, maybe even 9. They had an incredibly good pre-workout that we were selling at the gym and everybody was buying it. Fuck, I might just say it. It was by ProSups, Dr. Jekyll or maybe, no, Hyde, I think. Hyde.
Yep. Okay.
And that pre-workout was absolutely amazing. It was a hard-hitting pre-workout. Everybody loved it. And then people started coming to Apollon and saying like, oh, this doesn't hit anymore. This is not the same. This is not the same. I didn't know all the fucking ins and outs. I didn't know how the industry works. And I was arguing with people like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's the same product, same label, same everything.
Yep.
It's exactly the same product. Finally, after so many people, came forward and said, well, it's not the same, I looked at the supplements facts, at the ingredients, and I noticed that they changed the formula. They kind of softened up a little bit, whether it's to cut corners because they were trying to save money or they tried to go more mainstream. I don't know why they did it. But the thing is that I never personally understood. I know ProSups is a very successful company, so who am I to say otherwise? But I always believe, Mercedes should remain Mercedes. Kia should remain Kia. You have your market, you have your customer base and everything else, and they trust you to release the best product in that category. So don't cheat them, in my opinion. And by switching to something cheaper or different, you're already popular. Just fucking try and grow that popularity and try to be the best you can be. And I think that that's a recipe for success.
Yeah, I think what mostly happens, and that's what happened with Sparta, and I think and definitely with prosops, is that you enjoy you enjoy success or early success in a niche market, which is sort of the extreme high end, and then you just want to go, you hit the ceiling, right? You hit the ceiling of that niche market and you want to expand. And when you want to expand internationally or even nationally, and you want to go into GNC or Vitamin Shop or whatever, or just Amazon even, right? You just have to become compliant, and then that's where. But by the way, there's a couple of companies that have done this transition without losing their identity, and I think that's very important. I mean, Redcon One, which I mean has a lot of other problems, obviously, but putting that aside, they started really more on the hardcore DMHA, the Total War, and all that stuff, and like sort of slowly transitioned into mass market without losing their core identity, I think, of what they were supposed to be.
But they were very smart, and they did it very smoothly and
They
nicely.
did it gradually, and they kept the branding, and they did try to be cute, and I think that they've done a good job from a marketing perspective, but it doesn't happen very often. I think Sparta, Olympus, by the way, that's another one. They went like totally crazy on the shifting gears into something that is more compliant. It's very tough. In any case, it's very hard to tell a story in this industry. So once you have a story going, to pivot from that story is a very risky proposition anyway.
Yep. So we'll go through some questions here, guys. A lot of good ones. Robic, what was the motivation behind the new intro workout? And I guess I'll follow up with how's it moving?
Better than expected, to be honest, because we actually, that's the second time in a row that we kind of made a mistake. I guess I can take the blame for it, because we're going back to Lionheart, which was just, actually, that's the third one now. First was egg protein that, both DJ and I, we talked about it and we were blown away. DJ is pretty good at predicting things and, giving advice. And even he was surprised that we were both like shocked that the fact that egg protein, which was supposed to be this one-time hit, all of a sudden became a mega hit and kind of stayed. And now we're going to have two more, flavors that are coming out. So that was number one. Number two was Lionheart, because that was basically a sequel to Kumite, which was probably our slowest selling product. But the miscalculation is that Kumite was pretty much done about 2 years ago, and we only had one batch of about like 1,000 units that we were selling for about 2 years. So we thought that, even though there is demand from fighters and endurance athletes, it's not quite the same. So when the idea of reformulation came up, I completely changed everything from pills to powder to nitrates to the look to the name, everything. But still, there was hesitation. That's not exactly the pre-workout that is Apollon. We have the non-stem, which is great, but we also have strong stem. This is like literally a little bit more of a daily driver, endurance athletes, not exactly something that we're known for, even though the formula is loaded. So we didn't order a lot. It was like a minimal amount, until the hype started like building up even a week before the release. And then, of course, I actually called TJ on that one. I was like, I don't know if we should be sending you this, because this is like completely different. You can make an excuse for non-stem. When it comes to stem junkie, I mean, I don't think anyone can beat TJ on delivering, the benefits of a pre-workout. And he goes to me, no, send it. And I sent it to him anyway. To be honest with you, usually I'm not nervous when I send stuff to TJ, because I know that we have good product and I know that he's honest and he will deliver. But this one, I was like, shit, I don't know. This one makes me nervous. And when his review came out and, and other stores and people saw the product and they tried it, literally exploded. And I called the manufacturer and started begging for more flavors and to speed up the production, because we are running out of stock. And with Over the Top, it's basically a kitchen sink. Everything is thrown into it, but it's not where it doesn't make sense. It actually makes sense. Everything was very, very carefully selected, every ingredient, every dosage and everything. And obviously it became very pricey. So the thought was like, I don't know if anyone's going to be buying it. Probably like just, elite athletes and those that really want this type of product might actually interfere a little bit with Enigma, or might be misunderstood. But
Yeah.
the truth is that no, I mean, again, sales are very, very strong. Two new flavors already in development, and they're going to be
Wow.
probably approved on Tuesday. So it's moving fast. TJ was the only reviewer who actually received the product. So I think that
Yeah,
his
the
review,
review will drop tomorrow.
yeah, his review is coming up. And again, we said, I don't know, like, is that TJ kind of a product? And I think he's getting annoyed with that question by now. And he goes, yeah, send it over, because it's not right. I guess, sometimes TJ is viewed as this like STEM junkie kind of a channel, but it's not true and he made a very valid point to me. I think you said about steel, right? Was it steel?
Still anabolic, ADA-abolic. Yeah,
Yeah.
similar profile.
Yeah, and he said that was actually one of his most reviewed products at the time.
I
So
think it has that video has like 70,000 or 80,000 views. The still ADA-abolic review. Yeah, people care about the category. It's more about what people care about, right? And what it.
100%. And I think that just because it's not hooligan or assassin, there is no reason why it cannot be reviewed, and
Yeah.
it's still nothing to be ashamed of because it's a solid product. So we're just expanding a little bit more, but trying to stay true to our core.
Yeah.
So I got a question for TJ, and then I'll fall back to you, Robic. So I saw your review on Lionheart, okay, and I hadn't tried the product yet. So I jumped over to Robic and said, mint? I'm like, what the hell are you throwing? Because I remember you said, oh, I taste a bit of mint in this.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Robic and I don't know what TJ was talking about. So then I got my hands on the product, and there is something in it. I don't know if it's a chemical reaction. It's not a bad thing, but at first I thought you were crazy. I'm like, who's going to throw like an herb in the product? But now I do taste something. It's a great product, but I do taste a little something.
Yeah.
But I guess, Robic, with this lower stim product, I don't know if you're a data guy. Have you noticed new customers now coming to Apollon because now you've kind of opened the door to the less stim junkies?
I think that it's very hard to judge me, even though it's my brand. I think TJ is probably, from a marketing perspective, is going to be able to explain the success a little bit even better than I do, and I'm probably going to let him do it instead of me, because obviously the sales are growing, Apollon is growing, the brand is growing. I believe that we stay true to the core of a hardcore premium brand, but at the same time, in terms of like the growth itself, I mean, TJ's been observing and guiding and helping for the past, from the beginning pretty much. So I think he's going to have, considering not just Apollon, but he witnessed a lot of brands, just like we talked about Sparta and Ratcon and whatnot. Even Shane said to me that, in terms of a hardcore, Apollon is probably the most successful company ever, because hardcore usually has its kind of like a cap, and it's usually a lot sooner than where we are. We keep on growing. So I think because, it's not hooligan and it's not assassin, like I said before, I think the explanation or the reasoning for success, I think TJ is going to be able probably to explain a little bit better why.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, that's true. There's not a lot of listen. There's a lot of hardcore products out. There's not a lot of hardcore brands.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a big difference. So and like Robic mentioned, I come from a marketing background, so that's a very, very big difference. And there's also, like we mentioned before, there's not a lot of brands that kept the hardcore identity over time. So I think that, right, you could almost argue to say that Apollon is not even the most successful hardcore brand. It's one of the only hardcore brands, real brands. So that's a thing. Now, as far as expanding the category, as far as expanding exposure and stuff like that, I think that people underestimate, and we talked about Redcon 1, which is a great example. I think people underestimate how much audience there is for hardcore, right? Or super high quality or loaded. There's an audience. It doesn't, obviously it's not my wife maybe, but there is a lot of people that want to get high quality. They want to get something that they think was formulated for high performance. There's a lot of place for that. You will never get to mass market, also because of prices and stuff like that. But you definitely, I mean, it's like when you think about income, right? There is the top 10%, there's middle America. middle America, high-end middle America is a lot of people, right? Or definitely if you look globally. So I think that from that regard, that's a thing. Now I think what's happening with Lionheart, or what's happening with Over the Top, or what would happen with a couple of other products that it's similar. But by the way, Still Supplements is another one. That's a hardcore brand that kept hardcore, and it's a brand, right? It's a brand. It's not. There's not a lot. You can count them. It's going to take you time to come up with names of hardcore brands, and I mean hardcore, not shit. Blackstone Labs that sold steroids, right? I'm talking hardcore general sports nutrition. So there's not a lot. Anyway, bottom line is that once you build a brand and you create an audience and you create trust and you maintain that trust, you don't fail that trust, right? Then you are able to expand into other stuff, whether it's the immunity stuff we talked about, or something like Lionheart or other products, because you built the trust with the customers, and they tell the story, and then other people coming into the brand, and you see people use. I mean, a Steam Junkie would use an intra workout, or a Steam Junkie would want a day off, or a Steam Junkie. I use Lionheart for HIT. I do not. I mentioned that in my review. I cannot fight or shit like that. Robic would probably kick my ass in like 5 milliseconds, but it's a great HIT product. So I think you build trust with the brand, and then the consumer just trusts you for their next use case. That's what happens. But again, as far as hardcore, man, we can spend now half an hour and come up with names of hardcore brands. We're not going to come up with a lot. There's not a lot. Brands, not products, because I review shit that was manufactured in probably in Robic's neighbor's bathtub or garage. That's not brands. It's hardcore products. It's not a brand.
TJ, would you think for overall pre-workout users that it's like maybe 50? What do you think the percentage is for high stim users? And high stim, maybe 350, 400 mgs of calf plus versus under? I mean, do you think people are still gravitating more towards the lower stim, or is it like a whole new world now that everyone's going more high stim?
I don't think that there's the amount of caffeine in the product. I think that it really depends again on the audience. If you're going general audience, the people who were never exposed to anything beyond what they see on Vitamin Shop or whatever, then yes, the seller will tell you, dude, this is 400 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah.
Just that you know, right? But I think that it's becoming less and less, because it's such an informed economy that we live in. Everybody knows everything, YouTube, social, whatever, everything. So I don't think it's the amount of caffeine anymore, right? 500, 300, 400. I think people put hardcore in the sense of usually today, either it has like some crazy amount of caffeine, right? Like 600, 700, whatever. Or it has some, more exotic stuff like DM something or Araya or whatever. Otherwise, it's not even falling. I don't think you can put 400 milligrams in a product and call it hardcore anymore. That's gone. It's not a thing. It's more about really first the brand it belongs to, and then the stuff that you add on top of that. But I do think that, to your point, Sean, I think that you are. It's very interesting. I can tell you from my point of view, because I interact with a lot of people. It's almost like it's almost like porn, right? You get desensitized at some point. Like people like, oh, what? It only has like 200 milligrams of DMHA and 500 milligrams of caffeine. Do you have anything stronger? Did you? So I've used this, like people would go and say, dude, I used whatever, Assassin, Decimate, whatever. I used some, dude, but I need some. Dude, is there something stronger? Is this something? Fuck, man, dude, what do you mean stronger? What do you want? Like a baseball bat in your head? And there's people get used to something, and then they want the next excitement, right? You see that with a lot of stuff in life. So to your point, I think that even when now you put out something and it has like 200 milligrams of DMHA and 100 milligrams of this and 2 milligrams of this, people say, oh wow, yeah, what's next? Like what's the next big shit? How can you put more? Can I take more? So there is that part, which I think is always like bringing up the threshold. But for the average Joe, listen, there's always the average Joe. I think the average Joe, and you see, if you look at the pre-workouts that are out there, let's say, generally, I would say there's not a lot of innovation. Let's start with that, right? There's not a lot of innovation. The ingredients are what the ingredients. Once in a while, someone will come up with some pump ingredient, this and that. It's not, I think the innovation today, and definitely in the general market, there's not a lot of innovation. Yes, ingredient here, ingredient there, but it's not like you're really, in reality, you're taking something that was produced today. It's probably as good as something that was produced 3 years ago if it was good. If this thing was good and this thing is good, they're both as good. I think that there's more, the innovation today comes from first putting the money into these products, like really sourcing high quality ingredients. That's why, labels are just fucking labels, is because you can try the same, literally the same product, and it doesn't feel anything like the one you tried next to. Purity of ingredients, DMHA is a huge thing. The purity of the ingredient, alpha yo, DMHA. There's so many things that you, and first, so first, like I would say, putting the money to actually first and foremost, actually put the shit in the product. Let's start with that, because there's so many products that don't have anything in them. I reviewed a fat burn. I didn't post this review. So, swear to God, I think the pills are empty. Like, and this shit reads like, you read the label, I think the pills are empty. Like, literally, there's nothing in it. I think it's air. It's like placebo. And so first put the stuff into it, and then the purity of the ingredients, right? That's very important. And then really knowing, and I think that one of the things that Robic would probably attest to that, one of the things that I think got lost over the last 2-3 years in the steam junkie world is the actual ability to formulate. Like people lost the sort of respect for the ability to formulate. All they want, all they're looking for is, oh, this shit has 200 milligrams of DMHA, this thing has 400 milligrams of DMHA. Must be twice as good, right? And again, totally ignoring purity and also how shit interacts together. It's not just put stuff to, Sean, you used 100 products that felt like shit. And even though they had like whatever, I don't know what's in them. So formulation sort of people lost respect for formulation, I think, in pre-workout. Just give me that, at least on label. Just give me that. And that's, by the way, why I started the channel from the get-go, right? Because experience is what matters at the end of the day. But anyway.
You know what? It's funny because as a brand owner, I should be like right now disagreeing with TJ. Unfortunately, I can't, because he's right. I mean, he's right on the money. From Assassin perspective, Assassin was always good. It was great. But if we are going to, and I always like, if I catch you with something, or if I see something is wrong, I'm going to call you out on it, whether you like it or not, even if you are my manufacturer. So we manufactured Assassin initially with this company that if I told you who they manufacture for, you'd be shocked. You'd be absolutely shocked, but didn't piss me off yet, so I'll behave. But, this company manufactured, and the company, this particular manufacturer has been in trouble before also, but he manufactures for quite a few companies, and certain things I started to be a little bit suspicious about. So we went to somebody else who I really, really trust, a good friend, and his manufacturing facility is amazing, and they test everything, they show us everything. If something is off, they throw it right out. And we did Assassin 6.5 with TJ. It was a collaboration, and everybody was saying, "What's the difference?" Well, the only difference was it was a different manufacturer. That was the only difference, and it tasted absolutely horrendous. That one tasted so bad that it was probably among the worst tasting things ever. Thank God, right now we managed to improve Assassin flavors, but that one tasted bad. But in terms of pure performance, it was destroying Assassin 6. Destroying. It wasn't even close. We're talking about TJ said what, 15-20% felt stronger, and it did. Yeah. And everybody thought, even Justin Hall and I kind of got into a little something where I forced him to pretty much apologize because he called out basically me and TJ indirectly, saying that there is nothing different in Assassin.
It was the same formula. Literally the same formula.
It was literally the same formula. And, but it did feel different. So TJ is right. The sourcing, where you manufacture, everything comes into a play. Yeah. So that was number one example. Number two.
Shout out, by the way, on 6.5. Go watch Ari's review of 6.5, where you like a little pussy girl just.
Oh, he totally bitched out on that one. But if you if you take something different, something else that TJ just mentioned, and it triggered me because he said like there is little to no innovation. He said, and you know what? He's fucking right. There is none. I could name right now a few ingredients that came into the market in the last year or two, and they were what is it? Game changers, and they were amazing.
Love you, Ari.
Love you,
Yeah.
Ari. But seriously, watch Ari's video, Garage
Yeah,
Gym on Google.
Ari,
Dude
you're a good.
cried like a little girl. Yes,
And
support your pussy friends.
yeah, you could definitely fucking consider a sex change operation because you're a bitch.
Wow.
You're
We
just a
love
bit
you.
too buff for being a girl, but other than that, that's it. You're a pussy.
You could be a good looking bitch, but you are a bitch. But we love you nevertheless. So you know what? When he said about innovation, like take for example Bloodsport, right? So Bloodsport was again, it was DJ's crazy idea that I was fighting for a while. We put it together. Amazing product. Probably one of our best products right now. But what's in it? Nothing.
Nitrates and
There is nothing that doesn't exist. There is no breakthrough fucking ingredient. There is nothing innovative. There is nothing that other companies do not have access to. It's everything that's been available for years. The difference is it's fucking fully dosed. It's fully dosed. It's put together. It's actually what, eight, nine ingredients, nothing fancy. It's just a fully dosed ingredient. It has no fucking flavor to it. Yet we have difficulty keeping it in stock. What was preventing other companies from doing it?
by the way, now you see now after the Bloodsport launch, a lot of companies are starting to come up with something.
Yeah, of
similar
course,
to
of
profiles,
course.
and everybody now wants unflavored. By the way, just that you know, Robic Robic fought me at the beginning when I said.
Yeah, I was like, that's a stupid idea. You know what? Because I mean, we had this conversation and we have them like at least once a month. And he goes to me, yeah, you have bloody hell, great. He goes, you have bare knuckle, great. You have this. He goes, you know what you need? You need an unflavored formula. Look, the fuck is wrong with him? I mean, another one. It made absolutely no sense at the moment. I mean, we started to kind of reevaluate. I talked to a friend of mine who owns a supplement store here in New Jersey, Patrick. I was like, TJ came up with this idiotic idea. He goes to me, no, he says, we need it. He says that would like really, really help. And Apollon is not the first one. I mean, there are other companies that have done it. It's just when it comes to, again, it's just fully dosed. It's very expensive to put together. We probably could have charged a lot more for it. We tried to stay as reasonable as we could, but there is no innovation. The information is there. It's just the bottom line is companies are trying to save money and put the best possible product in the cheapest possible way so they can have more margins.
By the way, Robic, just that you know, it is still, I think, and someone can correct me, the only pump formula that has only unflavored.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I don't think anyone did it. That's what I'm saying. I think that the whole notion of, hey, this was designed to be added up. Don't confuse this with any other shit. That is still, I think, the only one.
And it works. And again, but the main reason why I use this as an example, there is no innovation to this.
Right,
There's none. There is absolutely no innovation. We have so many great ingredients that came on the scene, and I'll give them credit, like Sulfur 6. Fantastic ingredient. There are some good ones. But to say that, we have today still ingredients that have been around for years. Some of them have been around maybe for a decade or so. And it's not that difficult to put a good formula. You just have to put a good formula. And like TJ said, it's going to cost you money. The testing is going to cost you money.
Yeah.
Good manufacturing will cost you money. Good ingredients will cost you money. Good sourcing. All that will cost you money. It will add to the cost. But if you put out a good product, the customer will appreciate it because they're going to feel that it works.
Right. I also want to say for people who are listening, this is interesting because I think people sometimes miss, again, what takes into making a good one. So you need to, yes, formula, yes, good ingredients, and that's very important actually. And then, like Robic said, testing, because you can go and ask the manufacturer to manufacture something and get shit on the other side, less quantities, not the ingredients you asked for. There's another element, which is sourcing, which I can tell you, again, people don't understand what goes into actually doing this right. Because if you decided that you want to source, for example, a high quality DMHA, you want to make sure, the good ones, they know where this DMHA is coming from. And if they can't get that DMHA from China, wherever it gets from, right? If they can't get the same source and they don't test it for the same source, they're going to get a different DMHA. It might be a totally different experience. The label will look the same, everything will look the same, but it's going to be a different experience, or the alpha yohimbine or whatever it is. So it takes a lot into making these. At the end of the day, that's why labels are just fucking labels, right?
Yep.
And experience is what matters. And you either feel it or you don't. Fuck the label. That's the bottom line at the end of the day. Even though sometimes when I say fuck the label, it's like Robbie gets all sensitive and starts like, no, my shit is right, Robbie.
Yeah, it's true, but my shit isn't.
So, Robic, I have to ask you to lower your voice because we woke up fucking Sleeping Beauty here.
Yeah, what the fuck, Alan? I mean, you're an old guy. I mean,
hey, Alan, it's my fault. I have like a heavy schedule.
Damn.
So we'll burn through some questions here, guys, because I know. Obviously, I appreciate everybody's time. So this one, so I usually don't out the questioners, but this is from JoJo. Who would win in a boxing match, Sean or Robic? So the old meme of hold my beer. For me, it would be hold my teeth, and we're going at it.
Yeah, nobody would win, because you see, the thing is, the line is so fucking long of people I want to punch in the face, and Sean is at the very end. He's not even in the line. Plus, you know what? He's usually in old homes, so most of the time he's with a nurse, and she's probably attractive. I can't take away his fun.
I just have my loaded cane and just smack you with it.
Oh, there you go. You see, so it's not even a fair fight. I would lose.
So for both of you outside the fitness and supplement industry, who do you see as an inspiration, or do you have inspirations?
That's a great question.
Oof.
I'll tell you mine. Like I'm super impressed. It may sound a bit sort of generic, but I'm consistently impressed by people who are always hungry. Consistently impressed, whoever they are. It almost doesn't matter which industry they come from, whatever they do. People are consistently hungry. I mean, I'll use an easy example, so just that we all connect. Think Elon Musk, right?
Oh yeah,
the dude is always hungry. He's as hungry now as he was 30 years ago before he had a dime to his butt. And he's the world's richest man. So, and he's always hungry, he's always innovating, he's always trying to find out what's next. He's always, and I know a lot of people ask people, well, why are you doing this? Like, why does he, and he's still, I'm telling you, I promise you, he probably talks about it, sleepless nights, super concerned when the new launch of SpaceX comes up, or his Tesla has a problem. And theoretically, why does he need? So I'm always, I'm inspired by people who are always hungry. Now I want to go over to the other side for a second, and then I'll let Robbie talk. I'm also super impressed by people who can find peace. I'm super impressed by also. So, which is the exact opposite of Elon Musk, right? Because I don't think he has peace. So I'm very inspired. Unfortunately, I'm more the Elon Musk. I'm more always. I can't find peace, let's say. But I'm very inspired by people who can find peace. People who are, comfortable where they are, but they are really comfortable where they are. And I think there's a very big difference between being numb and being comfortable. It's very different. I'm very impressed with people who are said, hey, this is my good place. I'm happy and I want to live a happy life. And their measurement is happiness and how they feel. I have my sister, by the way. My sister is like that. She's not crazy. She's not trying to, but she enjoys life. She lives life. And that's also, so I try to learn from or to be inspired from both sides, both ends of the equation here.
I think that we all like watch movie stars and athletes, and we always sort of inspired by them, and we sometimes look up to them. I'm saying we because it's just kind of like very broad, but we don't know them. We don't know where they come from, like really come from. We don't know their background. We don't know like what they feel inside. what pushes them, and I don't think we can identify with them. No matter what it is, or what walks of life or what industry they're in. So I actually more inspired by people who are around me, and TJ is completely going to be not surprised by my answer, but it's the very, very powerful, inspirational, motivational three women in my life, and that's Marina, Melina, and Carolina. Those three women, they come from different backgrounds, three different countries, actually, all Soviet Union, but different, driven religions and everything. But to see the in and out, the daily, not struggle, because that's not the right word, but the drive, the determination, and never giving up. I mean, even as we speak right now, Marina runs a pharmacy in Brooklyn, and the lady who's helping her out, her assistant, is on vacation. Guess what? Carolina gets up in the morning. She says, I'm there. You know what? So the woman literally has, I mean, TJ deals with her very, very often, and he knows that woman is a young 32-year-old woman who absolutely has no break. She has no weakness, no nothing.
Yeah,
And
she's
when something like that, when you watch these strong individuals, these three strong women do what they do on a daily basis, most of the time when I want to complain and I want to be like Ari, the little bitch, you know what? I'm embarrassed, and I'm like, okay, get up and man up, and you're nothing like Ari. You're more like them. Even though I'm actually, I am more like Ari, to be honest.
uh, actually,
Sorry,
I think
Ari.
that
Today is not a good day to be you. Everybody's unleashing on you, but that's just because
by the way, actually, Ari, speaking of, it's so funny, Robic, how I know
Ari
you
is
don't.
actually very strong
That's what I
individual.
was actually, no, I was gonna say, while you were talking about Kay and Lena and Marina, I was actually thinking about stories like Ari's
Yeah,
that are super inspiring. I shared with Ari actually this YouTube channel I started watching. It's called the White Soft Underbelly. Check it out. It's
yeah,
this amazing guy that does interviews with people from Skid Row, and all of them had like this shit beginning. Most of them, 99%. Some of them bad choices, most of them shit beginnings. Anyway, the people that actually went to hell, I'll give you an example. We look at this thing, and this is super inspiring. This actually tells the Ari story, and someone who doesn't know Ari, go check his channel and listen to his story. There's, like we're in fitness. So I'll give you this example. I was just thinking about this morning. And, you say, hey, you look at these people who fall into drugs and addiction, and we always judge them. We always judge them. Just stop, right? Just snap out of it and stop and go work at whatever, McDonald's, and just stop. Think about yourself, right? You're saying you're going to be on a diet, and then how long does it take you to fucking cheat? 2 seconds. 2 fucking seconds, you asshole. And then you're talking about this guy who has a physical and mental addiction, or maybe had like this like terrible childhood, and you're asking that, oh yeah, just stop. Just stop fucking drugs, or physically addicted. It takes us 2 seconds to cheat on a diet. 2 seconds.
Yep.
Which requires literally close to zero self-control compared to this stuff. So people like Ari, by the way, I started watching this White Soft Underbelly. Check it out. It's like people that were in hell and were able to snap back up and come out. I started showing this YouTube to my kids to have some perspective on what shit looks like, what shit really looks like. Not us white privilege shit, what shit really looks like. And being able to snap out of it. I don't think, for example, I don't think that I don't even want to imagine what would happen if I had a shit childhood like a lot of these people that go through this
yeah.
stuff. And I would probably be dead. I'm not sure at all that I would have the power to do the turnaround that Ari did, or the turnaround that some of the people are able to do, and most of them can't, by the way. Just let's be set, it's very hard.
No,
So that's inspiring.
it takes
Even
a
though
very
Ari is still a pussy, don't
individual.
get me wrong.
No, he's still a pussy. He'll always be a pussy.
But
But
it's an inspiring pussy. It's an inspiring pussy. It's a
it's a
good thing to
foreign
be an
pussy.
inspiring pussy.
But yeah, I mean, first time when I got to really talk to him, I was like blown away. Like, I was completely blown away what this man's been through, and how he was able to turn around his life, and what a inspirational, hardworking, loyal and just kind-hearted person he is, it's absolutely astonishing. The guy will fucking send you a random message. I told TJ, like, what the fuck? He sends a. We're so used to people being mean and nasty and conniving and backstabbing. When somebody like Ari sends you a message in the morning, I hope you have a great day. You go like, what the fuck? Like, why is he sending me this? And then you realize he's just a good, kind-hearted person and a true inspiration. So, Ari, keep doing what you're doing. Keep being a pussy.
So usually I'm the butt of all the jokes here, but since this is my podcast, Robert has to be a little bit nicer to me. So today Ari's tagging it for me. Are you guys good for a little while longer, or do you guys have to run like anything immediately?
I have like 50 to 20 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Let me go to some of the other ones here. So Robert, you called out a few brand owners and supplement people on different podcasts. Anything come out of it?
Yeah, they fucking scared. I mean, listen, I would be scared too if I
rightfully so, exactly.
Yeah, I would be scared too. Honestly, you know what? I mean, I don't call out people unless they, I don't want to say deserve it because I'm not a fucking parent or anything like that. If you're making a shit product and you stay in your own line, in your own lane, and you keep making a shit product and you have an audience for your shit product, I don't give a fuck. I mean, keep making. There's customers for McDonald's, there are customers for pizza, and there are customers for for a gourmet fucking steak or something. It's fine. There's a market. The market is big enough for everyone. It's not me who's calling them out. It's them who are calling me out. It's just I do it in more direct way, and they do it a little bit more behind the back. And it's not just with me; they're doing it with each other. I've seen many, many brands where like they pretty much like praise each other to their faces, but behind each other's back, they talk shit nonstop. And I think, like, like TJ said, he has nothing to lose. And that's the reason why he says whatever the fuck comes to mind, because he's a successful man. He comes from a different industry. He does not depend on this, not financially, not in any other way. He's doing well. But for him to have a filter or to give a fuck what somebody's going to say just because he's expressing his opinion is ludicrous. So at the end of the day, when I say something, it's never in a mean way. But if you want to have a confrontation, if you want to have a discussion, you most likely will lose, because the thing is that I will never argue unless I have facts. And, perfect example, somebody said that I don't like or not supposed to like Ghost. That's not true. I actually like Ghost. I'm impressed by what they achieved. I think that the company is absolutely phenomenal. And the same thing is, recently TJ did a review about this company that everybody was kissing ass, and TJ absolutely destroyed the product. I'm not going to bring up who it is. But on the other hand, when he was doing a review about Ghost pre-workout, he actually praised it. He praised it and he spoke very well of them. And I thought that I actually like the pump product. I think it's one of the best on the market. So, and when I talked to Dan, the owner, I told him I wasn't a big fan of his Oreo. I mean, TJ and I actually tried it together in my house. It wasn't disgusting by any means, but it just wasn't Oreo really. I mean, I was just being honest about it. When I told Dan, he actually took it well, and it was just an opinion. And I hope he sells the shit out of it, and I hope he's doing very, very well with it. And I know to have a collaboration with a giant, like Oreo, he probably has to pay a lot of money. He had to go through hell to achieve it, and it's a great achievement. So to call a brand owner out, it's not my goal in life. I have absolutely no aspirations to doing it. But if you're gonna call me out or you're gonna disrespect me, then you absolutely leave me no choice, and you're probably gonna lose. It's just uncalled for.
And Robic is a bit edgy, maybe a bit,
A bit?
maybe a tad, maybe.
So what you're saying is the opposite of Ari being a bitch.
This, not a bit, it's just a bit, maybe on the edge, maybe a bit easy to explode, maybe a bit.
Just a tiny
Just a
bit.
bit though.
Need some sensitivity training. So TJ,
Take some
here's
drink in order not to explode now.
So someone's going to put your feet to the fire here, TJ. They wanted to know your favorite Apollon product that you've tried over the years.
Ooh.
It's like picking your favorite child.
Shit.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, there's like what 7,543 products, and Robic's probably launching like 6 tomorrow. So just going through the entire list is hard. I'll tell you this though. So it sounds crazy. If you ask me which Apollon product I use the most, let me try like this, right?
Assassin.
No, actually,
No, I actually knew he's gonna say not assassin. No,
Enigma coconut lime.
yeah,
The
I was going for that one. And for some reason I thought peanut butter cookie protein. So
and
definitely
the protein. I was gonna say the second one is the protein, the peanut butter cookie. Yeah, that's the ones I use most of the time, a lot, like not a lot. The other pre-workouts and stuff like that, I switch all the time. So for users use, I use that a lot. As far as favorite, I don't know. By the way, I think like if you would say again now, I really like Bloodsport. I think that's again something that I can use Bloodsport just a lot more than I use other stuff because I review a lot of things. So yeah, there's not, but yeah, Enigma like the coconut stuff is amazing on Enigma and Chainsaw and the peanut butter cookie. Favorite pre-workout over favorite pre-workout, that's a tough one though. There's so many. I mean, there's a lot. I don't have a favorite. Can't name it. Also,
What about
historically,
what about the Converse? What's the worst supplement you've ever had?
Wow, man, there's so many of them. So worst protein I ever had was actually, I think my worst memory is that NutraBio shit I tasted like 3 years and a half years ago. That thing tasted like someone sat in front, like someone faced me, like sat on my face and shit directly into my throat. That was disgusting. Worst pre-workout. So this is interesting, right? Like I used a lot of pre-workouts that didn't do anything, but they didn't do anything. They were not bad, right? They just didn't do anything. I'm trying to think if there was, guys, the original Edge of Insanity. The original Edge of Insanity, I think my review is also like it's super popular, has like 100,000 views or something. Like I called it Edge of a Heart Attack. That shit. I remember, I vividly remember what I felt. First, that I think it had more than 5 milligrams of high quality alpha yo, which is the most retarded thing you can do in a product. Like it is so stupid. There's just no reason whatsoever. It's so stupid. And I felt like death, clearly. I remember so vividly. I think I mentioned that in my review. I had nightmares that night. Like I started seeing shit. I don't know what happened. Like literally Edge of Insanity. Like literally I felt like I'm dying and going insane. That was terrible. That was such a bad experience. That was a terrible experience. And then I used the product. I'll tell you also, I used the product. I reviewed the Carnage. It's a pre-workout that had quite a lot of niacin. And I talked about my bad experience with it because I just hate niacin flashes. Also, by the way, another retarded ingredient to add in high quantities. Like it's just so stupid, the flashes. I tried a pre-workout, I won't mention the name, I didn't post it yet, but that shit had 100 milligrams of niacin in a scoop.
Damn.
I was burning for like fucking 3 hours and niacin flashes, like going red, everything was red, my entire body was red. And I was calling the guy, nice guy. I said, dude, are you fucking retarded? What's wrong with you? What's the benefit of fucking putting 100 milligrams of niacin in a product? Like, it's so stupid. With the niacin, there's no benefit on one hand, and you're burning the face of like 60% of humanity. So I think these were, like, if I'm trying to remember, Edge of Insanity, though, like, if you had to force me and said, okay, which one, you gave me like 5 pre-workouts, and you said, which one you don't want to take? It would be that shit. Like, man, the original one, not the new ones are okay. The original one, oh, shit. That was bad. That was really bad. Probably felt like Ari felt on Assassin 6.5, sort of. That feeling of death.
That product you just said with the niacin, was there beta in that as well? Beta alanine?
Which one? The niacin? There was
when
beta.
You just said 100 milligrams of niacin.
Yeah,
God, you must have been your sensors must have been off the fucking charts.
Man, but only niacin. But take 100 milligrams. Don't if you're sensitive. I'm sensitive to niacin.
Yeah, so, you're probably not even going to feel beta alanine at that point.
So you don't feel, dude, you're on fire. It's not
Yeah.
betaline tingling. It's not a tingling sensation. It's science in flashes. It's a thing. It's in it's in physics.
Yeah, your
It's
skin looks like
physiology. You
all like
get like
fucking like you
everything.
have rashes and
You
shit.
can't. The clothes touching your body burns. It's an insane and there's zero benefit. That's just stupidity. People who put, I told this to the guy, people who put 50 milligrams or 75 milligrams or 100 milligrams of niacin in a product do not know how to formulate a product. They're stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Same thing, by the way, if you're putting 5 milligrams of alpha yo in a product. You're a moron. You shouldn't be formulating products. There's no market for this shit. Nobody likes this shit. Nobody likes 5 milligrams of alpha yo. It's stupid. Or maybe if they do, it's like 1 in a billion. It's stupid. It's just stupid. You want stuff to be productive, not a death experience.
Yep. So we'll go 2 more. We have to end on a controversial one here. So for Robic, you have openly attacked both Price Plow and Fitness Informant, but since Fitness Informant made a donation to Ukraine, have you squashed your beef?
Well, okay. So I openly attacked it. It started basically, number one, Ryan has attacked me. That's the truth. I mean, initially Ryan was the one who attacked. He was one of those who attacked Hooligan and Assassin. That was years and years and years ago. And I simply retaliated because I felt like, for somebody who collaborates with other brands, I mean, and we know what that means behind collaborates, because it's just the truth. I'm not trying to attack him whatsoever. He works with those brands. I felt the attack was unnecessary, and I don't think it was justified. If you don't want to take 3, 4, or 5 or 10,000 milligram of caffeine, it's all your choice at the end of the day. But as long as you don't, there was no need to attack me. He attacked me. I retaliated. I believe he lost that battle. Just me personally. We since did squash our differences. He did reach out. We did talk, and Lucas introduced us to each other. Personally, I had nothing against him, but I explained my position. I even did his podcast. Later on, in 2021, when the whole brand of the year started, he posted something that I did not appreciate. When somebody made comments about Apollon being possibly brand of the year, he said certain things that were simply not true, and he had absolutely no base for it. So obviously, once again, I had to retaliate. We kind of kept distance from each other more than anything, and I did not agree with certain things. But he possibly doesn't agree with certain things that I do, which is fine too. When the whole Ukrainian conflict, it's not a conflict, it's actually a war. I hate the word conflict. When it started, Ryan reached out to me and he said that, despite, differences, despite that, he just wants to help. When somebody wants to help and somebody actually gives a shit, anything, all your differences, especially when it comes to something like simple as supplements, you can't put that aside because somebody wants to do something noble, something decent, and does not ignore to what's going on in the world. Who am I to say otherwise? Just because I disagreed on certain things. TJ and I disagreed on certain things. We just did it a lot more professionally and respectfully and friendly, because our friendship is more important than discussing alpha yo or whatever, because it's just stupid. So I respect Ryan for what he's done. I'm grateful for what he's done. He sent about 10 cases full of fed butters, and it shows that, it shows a person that actually gives a shit. We are cool. We actually texted this morning. As long as nobody attacks me, there is no reason for me to counterattack or to go and say nasty things or anything like that. We don't have to. We can be cordial and respectful to each other. Price Plow, on the other hand, it's a completely different thing. It's, when I see somebody openly biased, when somebody lies openly, with somebody, says things that are absolutely not true, and you're conducting your business in a very, very unprofessional manner, and you simply doing everything that benefits you or specifically your pocket. TJ, I know, for example, and this is just an example, was not really Ghost's biggest fan. But when he reviewed the product, he reviewed actually the product. He didn't review the company.
It wasn't even about Ghost, just to be fair. It was more about Ghost dick sucking that was going around. That was my problem.
I would say
I just couldn't see so much dick stuck in people's mouth all the time, and that was a disturbing visual. But
Oral
the products
activity.
are
Yeah,
actually nice,
yeah,
and they're
no.
doing an amazing job on marketing. They're
You
good.
know, and the review was positive, you know, just because of a personal disagreements or certain things, or dick sucking, like he said.
Not with Ghost.
He,
It's
he
the
did he
people who
didn't
review Ghost.
yeah, he didn't fucking you know, crucify the comment. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think TJ bought TJ was sent the Ghost pre-workout for free.
No,
I'm pretty sure
I
he
buy a
actually
lot of
bought
stuff,
it.
by the way.
Yeah, he bought it, he reviewed it, but he gave it positive review. That shit is not going to happen with Price Plow under no circumstances. For example, Apollon, I mean, of course, I'm being biased right now, but we made a lot of noise, positive noise. We achieved a lot in 2021. In a Price Plow universe, we do not exist. And it's not just us, it's other good brands that, unless they pay, they do not exist. Mark Glazier was on the Final Scoop podcast, and we had a very, I would say, pleasant conversation where he was praising Price Plow absolutely nonstop. Lately, have you heard anything from Price Plow about NutraBio?
Oh, they stopped? I didn't even know.
Yeah, there is nothing. There
This
is
is the
nothing.
thing. Listen, I think
What do
that
you think? What do you think the difference? The
that's
difference
interesting.
is there is
I'll
no
tell you
pay.
one thing, and I said it in a couple of other occasions. I think, and this is where I think the people who are tracking the beef, let's say, should be very cognizant of. There's no problem in making a living. There's like
Absolutely.
PriceFlow as a media platform who gives people exposure, do product analysis, write blog posts. They can do whatever they want, right? That is totally okay. There's no reason they can be on a retainer like they are, which is making money. That is 100% fine. They serve a need. They serve a need for these brands, and it's being served. The challenge is when you actually do stuff like you do. I'll follow on Robik's point there. You do a top 5 video on YouTube, and the only shit, and you're supposed to be like a professional media outlet, and the only shit that you have there is the 5 people that are paying you. That doesn't make any sense. That just doesn't make any sense. You cannot do shit like that. Or present yourself. And when Ghost was, when we did that podcast together with Dan from Ghost, who's an awesome guy, by the way, amazing guy, that's what I told him also. So I have no problem with them. If they want to do a product breakdown, like an analysis of the label, like Mike understands shit about.
They can get paid for it.
Do an analysis.
Fine. It's fine.
Why are you tasting something and it doesn't matter what dick they put in your mouth and you're saying it's the best dick ever? It just doesn't make any sense. Don't say you're unbiased, and it's not enough to put on the bottom of the blog post, this might be sponsored. Dude, you're putting a top 10. So I understand that NutraBio is not going to be on any top list moving forward.
They already
thing,
not,
right? And they dominated every fucking top list for 10 years.
They already not. You know, I mean,
that's the problem. That's the
Fitness
problem.
Informant nominated NutraBio, but Price Plow did not nominate. And the thing is that, you know, it boils down to only one thing. You know what? You're dishonest, and when you call yourself a sub bouncer, you're kind of asking for it. You're asking to be attacked. You're asking to be ridiculed because you're dishonest. I mean, in reality, who is Ben Kane? Ben Kane is somebody who was fired from NutraBio, and then went to Olympus, and I believe was fired from there too. Now all of a sudden reemerges as this crusader. You're not a crusader. You're just getting paid for content. Do get paid. Make your money. Pay your car payments, whatever the fuck it is. Just don't overstep your boundaries and don't go somewhere where you're not supposed to go. You know, he just, I brought it up without naming him. He just did the analysis of whatever that, you know, if somebody's using hygienamine, they're not manufacturing in a CGMP facility. You just praised a raw product called Ignite that has both those ingredients. And you just said that it's a number 1 or the best hardcore fat burner on the market. Number 1, that's a lie. Number 2, you got paid for it. Number 3, when that payment was gone and, you know, your commitment to praising it was over, now all of a sudden you're attacking brands, even without naming them, but you're saying something that is not true. You're not a crusader. You're not a sub bouncer. And when we exchanged messages, I clearly stated, they said, I think that, you know, when a review channel, say like TJ, he reviews a product and he gives it a negative review to a certain product because the product just doesn't deliver. That is fine. You know, he tried it. It's not good. And he stated it. And regardless whether, you know, he likes the brand or not, that's honest. That's true. I have zero problem with that. But when you are basically only praising the products, and in your universe, in Price Plow universe, you saying that you love the industry as a whole, but you're not presenting any news from the industry. You're not talking about other products. You're not talking about other brands. Just talking. You can get paid for the content. That's fine. You are allowed to make money. Do not fucking lie. Do not pretend like other brands do not exist. Do not exaggerate. That's the problem, because now you're saying that you're helping the industry, you're having the integrity, you're showing the exact opposite. You have no integrity. You're a whore who's getting paid and performs according, I mean, a whore gets paid what, X amount of money for a blowjob, and then she gets paid fucking twice or three times as much for fucking. That's exactly the same thing. There's probably a price, like a fucking menu. The content breakdown of your ingredients is going to cost you that much. Brand of the year is going to cost you that much, because obviously it's paid for. That's the problem. And the thing is that it has to be called out. I know brands who are doing business collaborating with Price Plow. To me personally, behind their back, they talk shit about Price Plow. They talk shit about how much they hate the channel. And they saying, yeah, but I kind of have to do it. No, you don't. I mean, Apollon is a perfect example. We did pretty good in 2021 without collaborating, without being mentioned by Price Plow, and that is fine. And I wouldn't mention them even now if the guy would not come on the channel and say, well, you know what, I'm the sub bouncer. I care about the industry. By the way, if you have hoarding hygienamine, you're not manufacturing, with a proper manufacturing facility. You're manufacturing in the bathtub. Well, you're now attacking me.
Is that
What do you
sub
expect?
bouncer? Is that a thing? I thought that you mentioned it in
No. Yeah, that's Ben
the
King.
sub
He's a sub bouncer. He's a tough guy. But the thing is, the tough guy, when he sees me for some reason at the event, he runs in the opposite direction. Yet I'm half his size.
That actually means he's not stupid.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Oh, man. Well, guys, it's truly been a pleasure. I know you guys have busy afternoons. TJ, this has been long overdue. It's truly been a pleasure. I had one last question here from somebody, and I'll say it out loud here. Is this a one-time thing, having TJ and Robic on the same podcast, or more to come?
We need a female, only if Ari joins us.
I was going to say Carolina, but you had to throw Ari. My God.
No, Carolina scares us.
Yeah, Carolina savage. Yeah, no, it's definitely bring Ari. We'll have a foursome. My first Robic sport this week. So there's I mean, we can definitely try and do this again. I have the biggest problem. I have a big problem. But this has been fun, Sean. Thank you very much for arranging.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. I really appreciate it.
And TJ, hopefully I'll see you again in October. Hopefully you'll come back up to the Apollon seminar and we'll have dinner again and have a good time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm not going to miss the seminar. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to come to the seminar. 100%.
Definitely, guys. See you then. Thank you so much.
Jeds, thank you again. Have a great rest of the afternoon.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. So, you happy?